Hello, welcome to another video. As you can see from the background, I'm still here. Still at G's, still doing this all in her spirit because she's obviously hosting this whole fantastic week. Yay! So, as I've said before in every other video, I will leave a link down in the description to G and her stuff so you can check it all out. Anyway, today is Saturday. Today is day number 6 of 7 days of top 7, so we're nearly at the end. Woo! Not woo because it's not fun, but woo because we've nearly made it. You know what I mean? Today, Saturday, day 6, is books that have exceeded your expectations for one reason or another. Here we go with my list of 7. Number 1 is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. That book really exceeded my expectations. I'd kind of heard that it was a bit of a mishmash of like other fantasy things that you've probably read before, smushed together, and nothing original about it. And on one hand, I kind of see where people are coming from with that. There were definitely things about that book that I recognised from other places. I could see how it wasn't the most original idea that there could ever have been. But on the other hand, I personally really enjoyed it and had a really fun time whilst reading it, and for me that's always what counts most. My personal enjoyment is what I read for, so if it's not the most original thing in the world, if it's not the most mind-blowing thing in the world, then I'm not really too fussed as long as I have enjoyed it myself, because that's what I'm reading it for. Like, you know what I mean? If you're not reading for your own personal enjoyment, what are you reading for? Well, I suppose people could say to broaden their knowledge and cultural understanding and stuff, but I read for my personal enjoyment. And with Frostblood, although it wasn't the most original idea, didn't blow my mind, I had a fun time, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did because other people had kind of been talking it down. So yeah, Frostblood by Ellie Blake. I really enjoyed that one. Number 2 on my list is Raw by, who is it by? Cora Carmack. That's who it's by, Cora Carmack. This is a book that came in a fairy loot box, and I don't know if that's why I had low expectations or if it was the cover or what it was, but something about that book just kind of said to me, it might be alright, but it's not gonna be great. It's gonna be mediocre at best. And I kind of had that in my brain, and then when I had it on my shelf, it was just like leaping out at me constantly, and I wanted nothing more than to read it. So, you know, I read it, as you do, and ended up absolutely loving it, and I am now eager for the next one. Like, I don't know why I had such these like terrible expectations for it, but I did, and that changed when I actually read it and ended up really enjoying it. At the time of finishing it, I kind of looked back on it and thought like, oh, it wasn't the most original thing ever. And in some sense, it wasn't the most original thing ever. Like, in some sense of the word, it was a young female princess who can't rule her kingdom properly, so she has to go off and find something to help her to rule effectively. Like, that's something I think we've seen many times before, but it was more the magic system and how the magic worked that was more exceptional to me. Like, the weather magic and the storm magic and how that all worked was something that I thought was really original, really fantastic, and ended up really enjoying. Also, the like love story I ended up really liking as well. Number 3 here is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. If you know or do not know, I'm not normally a contemporary sort of person, so I think Eliza was like the perfect pick for me. Jess from Between the Lines sent this to me for my birthday, and because she really loved it, so she sent it to me for my birthday, and I ended up really enjoying it. It was the sort of book that I couldn't put down. I read it incredibly quickly for me, 2 days. Like, if I didn't have to go to work and like have a life, I would have probably read it in one sitting, but I have a life. But because I don't normally read contemporaries, I was really expecting to not enjoy it as much as I did, but I really enjoyed it. Got through it really quickly. It was emotional. I didn't cry. I know some people have cried at it. I didn't cry, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Number 4 on this list is a book I've already spoken about a few times within this week, and that is Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. I do not think enough people have given this book a fair chance because it's actually really good. I think when it first came out, it was in both the Owl Crate and the Fairy Loot box, so I know a lot of people ended up with it. But I think a lot of people had kind of negative perceptions of it, and I don't really understand why. I don't know if maybe someone influential had reviewed it and said something bad, but I picked it up anyway and really liked it. It was really weird, like really, really weird. Again, I said this in like another one of the ones this week about swans and dogs and hands and witches and stuff. But there's also like underlying messages and morals about like friendship and loss and grief and growing up and letting go and moving on and blah blah blah. And it's really good. And I think more people should give it a chance because it's better than I think people think it is. And it's better than I thought it'd be, hence why it exceeded my expectations. Next, number 5. A Gathering of Shadows by Victoria Schwab. I read A Darker Shade of Magic, and then, well, I say I read it. I started reading A Darker Shade of Magic, and then I put it down and read A Court of Wings and Ruin. And then after I finished that, I picked A Darker Shade of Magic back up. And I think that probably tainted my view of that, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I possibly could have. So I think then when I picked up A Gathering of Shadows, I mean, I was excited to pick it up, but I wasn't expecting it to blow my fucking mind. And it did. I was expecting it to be like 4-star. That's why I gave A Darker Shade of Magic. So I was expecting good, like thoroughly good, but I wasn't expecting to like have my brain blown out of my ears and splattered on the walls. That's a really awful way of explaining how good a book was to me. But it was really good, and I didn't expect it to be anywhere near as good as it was. Quite possibly one of the best things I've ever read. Until I read the 3rd one. Then that was the best thing I've ever read. Number 6. This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Schwab. Lots of Schwab. What did I give it? Did I give it 4 or 5 stars? I think I gave it 5 stars. It's been a long while since I've read that book, so forgive me for not remembering it like through and through. I haven't read the 2nd one yet, and I think I might need to kind of give myself a refresh on the 1st one before I read the 2nd one. But I remember loving it, and I remember the world being amazing. And the like moral question of what is good and what is evil, and do you trust the people you think you trust, and the people that you think are the evil, monstrous people, are they really as bad as you think they are? And kind of the moral questioning and the world and stuff was fantastic, and I don't think I was expecting it to be like that meaningful for what it was. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And finally, number 7, I nearly did 8, not 8 days in a week, 7. Number 7, I have put down Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovich. I've already mentioned this at some point this week as well, can't remember when, forgive me. So I did actually finish this one relatively recently. When this is up, it will have been about 2 weeks ago-ish. And this one was from a Fairy Loot box. And again, I don't know if because it was from a box, that was the reason I had the low expectations for it, or what it was about it, but I wasn't expecting it to be anything above okay, and it ended up being good. So it wasn't exceptional, it wasn't great. I still only gave it 3 stars. From like the first couple of chapters, I was expecting it to be terrible, in all honesty. There were some things that were mentioned within the first couple of chapters that I was not into at all, but then the story kind of switched direction, which was great. And then I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. So there we go. That is 7 books that exceeded my initial expectations. I hope you have enjoyed. As I said at the beginning, the link to all of G's stuff will be down there. So you can go and check her original videos out down there and find the comment section where people will be leaving the links to their stuff, so you can join the train of people participating in 7 days of top 7. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please give us a thumbs up, chat to me down in the comments. If you aren't subscribed and fancy subscribing, I'm always eternally grateful for that. I upload every Sunday and Wednesday and some odd days in between if I'm feeling generous, like today. And I will see you next time. Bye!